Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another edition of StarSound Speaks. This is your host, Irlianna Samsara. Well, it's not just another edition today, because today is the 100th episode of StarSound Speaks. Woo! Le centième épisode en français. I am using the Gemini Sag axis of the last year and a half to study French again. But anyway, that's not what I want to talk to you about. I just want to say, before we get into the astrology for May, that I'm just so grateful for all of you, because I really enjoy doing this, and I hear from some people and that they really enjoy this podcast. So that's good. That it's the reason for doing this is to assist everybody, and hopefully you find value in this, and at least somebody does. So you know what they say, if you've helped one person, you've done your job, right? So anyway, really grateful, and always delightful to hear from everybody. And so anyway, before we get into the May's got some interesting opportunities, and I'm going to give an overview of dates, and also get your pencils out, or your whatever tools you use to transcribe this and put this on your calendar, these power dates of opportunity. But before I do, I just want to say, so yeah, I'm going to, because of course Venus is in Taurus, and so we're going to celebrate. And I wanted to have it today, but we're having a little party. You know, the Leo in me, I don't wait for a party, I create it, right? So I went to the store and I got a really good cake mix, and I'm gonna bake a cake and put really good icing on it. And all my friends are coming over, and we're gonna celebrate on Sunday. So I bought this little box of, this is really good stuff. I mean, I need like a padlock to keep it under locks, but the Simple Mills brand. This is my cake mix. See, it says Simple Mills chocolate muffin and cake. Yeah, this is gonna be really great. And then I'm gonna have like cream cheese icing. And I'm gonna put the whole, like it's all vegan, right? Because I'm vegan, so no animals were affected or hurt in the making of this food. So this is benefits everyone, right? Win-win, delicious. Uranus and Taurus, right? Take care of the earth, take care of the animals, take care of each other. And so that's my desserty cake party, which will be Sunday. So if you want to know, the frosting is going to be what is it, Miyoko's, I think it's called. Another, you know, where you can get in trouble buying this stuff because it's so good. It's Miyoko, cream cheese and butter, like a cream cheese buttercream frosting, or some ridiculous thing, which thank God I don't eat every day, because that would not be good. Just special occasions, trying to be good. Anyway, back to juicing the next day, right? So that's that. And I just want to say, before I move on to the astrology, a big shout out to there's so many. I checked back on the podcasting platform, and I don't know about YouTube. I don't know how to get deeply into the analytics if they have a country by country breakdown, but I looked and I was so surprised that more people from other countries on the audio platform, iTunes and Spotify and 8 other platforms. We have like 53 countries now. It used to be like 36, and now it's 53. So I'm like, yay. Of course, I think the Leo in me is like always like, yay. So anyway, I just want to give a shout out to all you guys in these countries. So let me see, I'm gonna pull this up. Okay, so obviously, because most of the world's internet traffic is les États-Unis, the United States. However, we have, look at all these fabulous people. La Côte d'Ivoire, the Ivory Coast. Hello, Ivory Coast. The UK, fabulous. Australia, and you guys, you're amazing. I guess if we call you guys the land down under, do you call everyone else the land up and over? I don't know, but I'm just wondering. Canada, yay! I love j'aime le Canada. Mexico, Germany, Japan, Ireland, another fabulous country. Turkey, yay! Turkey, Istanbul, fabulous, beautiful country. Serbia, yes, I was there when it was Yugoslavia, so that's how old I am, right? Portugal, Romania, Hungary, hello, hello. Italy, buongiorno. New Zealand, Sweden. I love Sweden, yes. And I'd love to visit New Zealand. So if anyone wants to buy me an airline ticket, I'm there. Panama, hello, Panama. I think you're one of the new countries, Panama. The Netherlands, India. Love you, India. Denmark, hello, hello. Jeg elsker dig. Oh my God. Yes, my first boyfriend was from Denmark, but I still remember how to say I love you. I think that means I love you. I hope so. I hope it doesn't mean get lost or anything. Please don't, I'm a little rusty here. Russia, hello, Russia. Yeah. All I remember is spasibo, so I don't remember how to say hello, so please forgive me. France, bonjour la France, j'adore. Je t'aime beaucoup. Taiwan, Switzerland, where I can get into all sorts of trouble with the chocolate bars, kilo-sized chocolate bars, total heaven. Belgium, another great place to get into chocolate trouble. Macedonia, hello. Oh, beautiful country. I've been there. Very, very grateful to have seen some of these places. Poland, hello. Spain, hello, hello. Austria, Greece, Ecuador, another beautiful country. Uganda, that must be incredibly beautiful, with right there in the middle of Africa, below the Sahara, and must be very, very lush. And anyway, saying hello. Croatia, Norway, Belize, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Kuwait, hello Kuwait, hello Chile, hello South Africa, Bermuda, hello, hello, Brazil, hello Brazil, sending you much light and love, Czech Republic, yay, Malaysia, Argentina, Costa Rica, Puerto Rico, woot woot. El Salvador, Ukraine, yes. Let's see, Slovenia, hello Slovenia. Finland, Malta, I think you're new too, Malta. Hello, hello. Iceland and Morocco, yes, definitely. Hello, bonjour Morocco, bonjour, bonjour, salut. So yeah, there we go. Just want to give that a quick shout out. So it wasn't really quick, but forgive me. All right, so back we are. So here's our little, I'm gonna run through an overview, and I'll get into some of these dates during the month, more specifically. This is an important month because we're back in eclipse season. So the eclipses happen twice a year, lunar and solar, like bookends. Since last May, they have been in the signs of Gemini and Sag. So again, we'll have a lunar eclipse at the end of this month, and then the solar will be next month in June 1st. I'm sorry, June 10th. So here we go. All right. So the first thing is May 1st is tomorrow, Saturday, May 1st. Well, that's May Day, right? They call that May Day in the pagan traditions. It's called Beltane, and that is it's associated with fertility, and of course, in the Northern Hemisphere, it's the arrival of spring. And in the symbology of the signs and the sun signs, the sun being in Taurus signifies philosophically and all this lushness. It's, Venus ruled, so it's very goddessy, and it's, these riches, and, the Beltane is the cross points. So we're halfway with the Beltane holiday. We are halfway between the spring equinox, well, in the Northern Hemisphere, spring equinox, the equinox, and the solstice. So it's a quarter point, it's a crossing point. And they say that the Fae, which are the fairies, the elementals of the fairy kingdom, is very active in Beltane. The veils are very thin in Samhain, which is the Halloween, and also the exact opposite, which is this weekend, the Beltane celebration. So it's a very mystical time for where the veil is thin, so it's great for communicating with the fairy realms and your imagination and love of nature. This is a great time to get out there and just celebrate. In the pagan traditions, they danced around the maypole, right? I remember in Catholic school, May, the month of May was Mary's month, right? Because May sounds like Mary. And so, of course, again, you know, owing to that, the ancient precept about the goddess and fertility and all of that good stuff. So I remember having to put up, I always loved to help around, and we'd put up on bulletin boards in the classroom. I can still see powder blue paper with pictures of Mary, and we got to, you know, tack them up on the bulletin board. So that was always a fun, and I always loved it because for me, it was the beginning of spring, and, you know, it's my favorite time of the year, spring and summer. So, so May 1st to 3rd is so go out and celebrate and just, you know, it's reconnect with nature. Now, the sun will be moving into a square with Saturn from the 1st to the 3rd of May. So that might you might find a little bit of a tampering down. It might be a little bit of challenge, but maybe not, you know, not so bad, just to be patient and wise, and don't overindulge too much, because the Venus is hosting the sun, you know, so we might be a little too pleasurable, but we can be, have fun in moderation and have patience and such. So this is just a few days where we feel that. So the 1st to the 3rd is really where most of that would occur. Then we have Mercury, which has been in the sign of Taurus, is now going to step into Gemini. It's its home sign. So it's like this homecoming team, right? Mercury is in its domicile in Gemini, and that will start May 3rd to 4th. And that is, Venus is going to be there as well. Well, this is really big because we're coming into the sun going at the end of the month. The sun will be in Gemini. Mercury is going to be in Gemini. Mercury is going to go retrograde in its home sign of Gemini, and we'll have the eclipse in Gemini. So this is really heavy duty Mercury Gemini season. So everything relating to our connections, our speech, our communications, our thoughts, attitudes, ideals, ideas, data and information, commerce, merchants, siblings, our brothers and sisters, our neighbors, our connections in the immediate vicinity, right? Such as neighbors, siblings. All of these subjects are coming up. So this is these subjects and significations are going to be very loud, especially with eclipses, because that's going to show us where we've had blind spots and where there are major endings and major beginnings. So lots and lots of good stuff there. Anyway, so that's the Mercury coming into Gemini, and so this is going to probably, you know, again, these things will be more deeply explored and transformed in the eclipses, but at least Mercury stepping into that home sign is really going to give us a flavor for what's ahead. Mercury is Venus is going to jump on there. So Venus and Mercury are going to be buddies in Gemini, and buddy is definitely a good, Venus is all about peace and grace and connection and harmony. So I would say any kind of like business deals, maybe you have a business deal going on with or a contract that is to be signed with, say, a brother or sister or cousin or somebody like that. This would be a really good, especially like May 8th, 9th, when as Venus moves into Gemini for that second week in May. Really a good time if you have any kind of business deal that you want to get involved with. Certainly, or maybe even like say you wanted to write a screenplay or write the great American novel, you could buy, you know, screenwriting software or some kind of technological thing, you know, with having to do with information. Certainly a new computer, you know, you could get some great deals, I would think. You know, Gemini also rules school, so elementary and high school. So there could be some ease and connection and making harmonious alliances with school and things going well, benefic, you know, in that direction. Of course, it's been very tough with with COVID and the schools and, the incredibly difficult situations that the school system has found itself in. But again, this is another reform when the eclipses, which happened last year and again this year in Gemini and Sag. So there's a lot of changes, fundamental changes going on with the school district, school system at large, all over the world, right? May 11th, we have the new moon. So I'll break that down in another video, but the new moon in Taurus, of course, Venus is the host, being that, in the sign of Taurus, she is the hostess for the new moon. So the new moon lunation starting May 11th into next month will be has a very graceful flair, has a real beauty around it and a harmonic influences. So that will be kind of permeating and overshadowing the lunation cycle. So that's wonderful. That's going to be wonderful. Let's see, May 12th, we have Mars in Cancer, right? It's been in the sign of Cancer, and it is going to trine Saturn in Aquarius. So maybe there's some home remodeling going on, and we could get a boost with the trine, with that nice, it has trines of the element of the feeling of Jupiter. So there could be some grace and blessing around maybe home remodeling or security. You could say home security, certainly any issues like that. And Saturn could be our family lineage as well. It's not just building, although it certainly does apply to that, construction, building foundations. So maybe building strong, powerful, bold family connections, you could say, you could use that transit for that. Then we've got on May 14th, we have May 13th I've talked about this before, Jupiter is going to dip its toe into Pisces. Now it just went, it was so fast. I couldn't believe how fast Jupiter went in Aquarius. Usually takes a year, but it only took December to May, 5 months. It's zipped right through the entire sign of Aquarius. And now it's heading into Pisces. So it'll be at 0 Pisces for a few days around May 13th. And then it'll go 2 degrees into Pisces. At the end of July, it will retrograde and it'll go backwards, and it'll spend a few months, stepping back into the sign of Aquarius, and then it'll turn around again in October or so, and it'll go direct. And then it will finish out, and then it'll be fully in Pisces in December, from December of this year, 2021, into all next year. So this little blip dip of the toe from May 13th to the end of July is important because it's giving us a preview of coming attractions. So what that looks like, well, Jupiter, especially at the 0 degree, so let me give you some exact dates for when that is. Hold on a sec. Okay, it's about May 13th to the 23rd, it will be at 0 degrees of Pisces. So the 0 degree is what's called a critical degree in astrology. So that is giving us this bird's eye view of what will it give us a bird's eye view of? Well, Jupiter rules the truth, it rules faith and religion and spirituality and, morality, like doing the right thing, certainly fairness and such, and justice, courts, all of that is Jupiter ruled. And people in high places, it can be the media, like say national media. It could just be people in general. It's certainly, a lot of significations, confidence. It's the greater benefic. So this is about confidence, hope, joy, optimism, and it's in its home sign. Jupiter rules Pisces and Sagittarius. Well, Jupiter in the sign of Pisces is giving us this, faith restored. It'll give us this 0 degree preview is going to show us ideal, right? So the ideal environment where faith is restored, where we're getting inspiration, where we're getting inspiration for self-improvement, for expanding our consciousness. These are all various possibilities and potentialities that are going to make themselves available next year when Jupiter spends the entire year in Pisces. But this window of time from mid-May to late July will give us this chance to see it in action. So whatever we see, it will be a theme, how it is and where it is in your chart. It'll give you a sense of things. Like, for example, if Jupiter is in your 6th house, it'll give you the ideal work situation. It'll show you the ideal work situation or health situation. Maybe even if you were sick, how faith and optimism can restore your faith in your ability to be well. Just things that are coming to mind. If it's in your 10th house, it would be the ideal career situation, and so on and so forth. So perhaps we'll explore that more deeply in the month to come. But it is certainly, because Jupiter spends an entire year in the sign, it's certainly something, and it's always about bringing increase and expansion and abundance and good luck and opportunity. Although sometimes it can be excess as well. You could go to Vegas and blow your entire wallet at the gambling table. So, you have to, there's always a shadow, and it's overreaching and such. But certainly with Jupiter and Pisces, it's, beliefs being explored and maybe tested, as planets make their various transits affecting that sign, where it's square, opposition, trine. It will be bringing around tests and opportunities for us. So anyway, that's going to be happening. So that's May 13th. May 14th is when Mercury starts its shadow retrograde period. So it doesn't go fully retrograde till the end of the month, but it's interesting. And as you get more attuned to the planets, you could actually feel it. In the last few years, I've been able to really, you could feel it without even looking it up online or, checking it out in writing, what day and hour of time in your time zone. You can actually feel it, and just be aware of that and kind of test it out, and you'll see, like, you'll feel like the slightest little where, oh, I slipped with something, or in terms of a piece of data or information, or screwed up some date or got something backwards. You can it's very subtle. It's a very, very subtle thing. Now, could you still sign a contract? Yeah, sure, no problem. Venus in Gemini is going to help a lot as it's riding along, just like Batman and Robin, like Robin had that little sidecar, so Venus is riding along with Mercury. So it's giving, I would say it's probably going to make the retrograde maybe a little easier. It'll give some grace. For instance, one of the things that happens when Mercury goes retrograde is relationships that aren't working typically come to an end. And I've seen this many, many times in my life and other people's, as well as, and it could be a friendship or business relationship, maybe a contractual agreement or such. And so that can be good or bad, depending on what's going on in your life. But that is definitely Mercury's movement like that. It is definitely a time to step back and review things that haven't been working, or to change one's mind and to see things in a more mystical fashion. Sometimes people from our past show up. I mean, I don't know if there's ever been a Mercury retrograde where I didn't have somebody from my past show up. And again, depending on what house is it in your chart, those are the people in your life that could potentially, for example, show up. Like if Mercury is retrograde in your 5th house, it could be an old lover shows up. Or if it's in your, 11th house, it could be an old friend, somebody that you used to know. So it's really quite fascinating to see, or your ex-husband or ex-wife, if it's in your 7th house. So just as something to be aware of. And again, nothing to be afraid of. Mercury retrograde has some very mystical qualities. I think it gets a bad rap we can all be silly about it, but truly in a deeply spiritual philosophic practice, we really want to look at these transits and astrology in general as this kind of, I would say like an addendum, an extension of our spiritual practice, because these are opportunities for us to transform always in every moment. These transits it's like the universe's way of showing us like, here's how you can step off the wheel, end suffering, right? And so all of it, even the tough transits, the Saturn transits and the Pluto transits, all of those are really serving to enlighten us and to broaden expand our consciousness. So we have to always make sure that we're not getting crazy about these things. Anyway, okay, so let me see what else I got for you. Okay, so that's May 14th, about Mercury starts its shadow retrograde, and it'll go fully retrograde at the end of the month. What is it, about May 30th, I think? So let me see, let me grab that just a second. Yeah, it's May 29th, 30th, Mercury will go retrograde. So that's that. And then now here's the thing that I really want to highlight. I had said, many months ago when we did the forecast for 2021 that, watch April and May, they're definitely hot. Well, certainly we saw history made this month of April with the Chauvin verdict, and a real turning point. Again, this was something indicated, one of the many facets that was indicated by the eclipse last year in 0 degrees of Cancer. Here, the activation of that was right when Derek Chauvin was convicted of murder for the death of George Floyd, and of course, sparked this entire movement. The Black Lives Matter movement came back in a greater force and really started making an enormous impact. Everything was accelerated, this consciousness to heal this pain body that we've had in our society for 400 years. So, wow, right? Big stuff, big changes in leadership toward a more compassionate government, a more compassionate society. So yes, April was a really big month. Well, May is going to bring its interesting, it certainly hasn't stopped. I know one of the things I mentioned was the royal family, because now we've got, I said, watch May, because Uranus at 11 degrees of the fixed signs is, as Smiljana, our wonderful Smiljana Gabrancic from Serbia, we've had her on many times, as if you've followed the podcast, and go check out her predictions and things, as she is incredible. And we've got about the presidential election and, the royal family, and it's really fascinating, but it is definitely, I know that Prince Philip passed, that was another big milestone. The falling of the old guard, the passing of the torch would be a South Node South Node and Sagittarius kind of thing. The South Node being that which is decaying, which is old, which is falling away. And the North Node is what we are embracing, what we are moving toward. So this is going to be a big month with not only the lunar eclipse at 5 degrees of Sagittarius. It's a South Node lunar eclipse. So again, the falling away of one's comfortable environment, very about, what is Sagittarius? Prestige, so we're seeing this across the board in all of our lives. But I think that more is going to be coming with especially because Smiljana, and this is how I met her originally. I read an article of hers a couple of years ago, and she talked about how she found that there's this degree, the 11 degrees of fixed signs, so Leo, Taurus, Aquarius, and Scorpio, that when 11 degrees occurs, there's always some kind of abdication or a crisis in monarchy, crisis in leadership. And it happened with Wallace Warfield Simpson and Prince Edward and such. And again, you know, here it is coming in right when Harry and Meghan did that big Oprah interview. It was only within a couple of degrees from that. But when it's here, it is exactly on 11. So we could be seeing a lot more shakeups and changes in that area. Now, why should we care? Well, when you think about the royal family, the symbology of the royal family and how they represent this old guard, this aspect of our consciousness of the things of this is the way it is and this is the way it's been. And now with Uranus and Taurus shaking up our values, right? And these eclipses saying, no, it's time to embrace new other ways of being. Mercury is about dissolution, you know, it's quicksilver, right? So a Mercury, a north node, a solar eclipse, which is coming June 10th, is all about that. It's a stirring of the pot. And it's bringing closure to what has been, especially with solar. Solar eclipses are associated with leaders of countries, leadership and leaders. So you see how this is all playing in. It's really, really pretty fascinating to marry that to world events. And then again, like I say, we want to look and see, you know, how does this play into our lives? And if we're seeing it in the collective, there's definitely a message for all of us in terms of how we embrace change and listen in different ways and new capacities for listening. When you think about Mercury and communication, going, you know, listening to another point of view, like look at, since Mercury is about siblings and connections with siblings as well, and certainly in the sign of Gemini, you see, you know, you think about, say, Harry and William, you know, there's some breakthroughs here that can happen. Yes, there's breakdown, but then breakthrough. So you'd hate to see them split up. They're such nice boys. Diana raised them well. And anyway, so we'll see these are opportunities for our own siblings. Maybe there's reconnections that we are due to have to reinvent our relationships with siblings if we have them. So anyway, moving right along. So that's going to be there. And now the middle of the month, around May 15th, Mars is going to translate last year's, there was an eclipse was it last June at 13 degrees of Capricorn. So it was a lunar eclipse in Capricorn. Now, why is this important? I think this is still going to have an effect when Mars activates, even though the nodes have shifted into Gemini and Sag. Sometimes an eclipse is so powerful that it can even activate even after the nodes have passed into the next sign. So I'm wondering about that. And we've seen this in other instances. And astrology is so much of it is just, you're there and it's empirical. It's like, hey, try it on. There's no hard and fast rule. And if it's there, it's there. So what I'm saying is that there's going to be Mars on Saturday, May 15th, right after noon. I pulled up a chart for Washington, D.C. So right after noon on Saturday, May 15th, Mars is going to be exactly to the degree and minute. It's going to oppose that eclipse point, that lunar eclipse point from last June. So again, eclipses, a seed is planted. When Mars comes along, it's action, right? So it could be some conflict action with an opposition like this is. So we could be seeing, this could play out in many ways, having to do with our homeland, our country, our desire and our passion for being secure, for one thing. Well, what I'm thinking about is because the sun is also conjunct a fixed star called Algol, which is pretty dicey, and that can bring up, in Greek mythology, it's the Gorgon Medusa, the slaying of the head and the head of snakes, and familiar with Greek mythology. This was who slayed the Medusa? I'm blanking out. Hold on a minute. Let me check. Okay, it was Perseus. Okay, that's it. Perseus. was he was victorious over the snake-headed Gorgon Medusa. So the Medusa, right, with all that very scary looking imagery in Greek mythology, this head with snakes for hair. And it's been associated with violence across many cultures. Now, it doesn't mean necessarily, I mean, and also, you know, he cut their head off. So it's about getting your head cut off. And that doesn't have to necessarily be literal, but it can be heads rolling, like saying people getting laid off, right? You hear that term, heads will roll, right? People are going to get in trouble and there's going to be an ending, a swift and intense ending to things. So that the sun every year, the sun, of course, in Taurus will transit that point. So this year it will be conjunct Algol, but it's on the same day or within the same day or days that is active. Mars is going to activate that lunar eclipse. And so I wonder about that, because that would definitely indicate maybe heads will roll, right? Venus ruling the sun. It could be about money, financial money, personal finances, stock market. There could be an upset there, an adjustment. As I was saying in the previous episode, the US dollar, the Chinese yuan, they're all, and Bitcoin, and what was the other one? Not Bitcoin. Wait a minute, I got it right here. The US dollar. So the USA government, 13 Cancer, right? Our birth chart, the US dollar at 13 Aries, the Bitcoin is 13 Capricorn, right? And there it is. And then the Chinese yuan. So the Bitcoin, so this will be opposing Bitcoin's conjunct the USA sun and opposing the Bitcoin's sun at 13 Capricorn. Whoa. So there could be some flare up. There could be, maybe it's about where the dollar could be maybe threatened, like there's no security anymore about that, or that there would be this, it could be a really big flap in the markets. So these are all potentialities, possibilities. So that would be Saturday, May 15th. So apparently, you know, so the markets could be affected even like Friday, the 14th, and maybe over the weekend into Monday. Of course, we've got what, 12 to 14 hours ahead, but about 12 hours ahead from Eastern Standard Time. It would be I'm thinking of the Tokyo Stock Exchange. So, of course, Tokyo Stock Exchange wouldn't be open on Sunday, their time, but again, these energies, of course, last for a few days. So we might see it coming in on the 13th or 14th of May, and possibly that Monday, the 16th, the 17th. So anyway, here are examples of where this might impact us. There could be a destabilizing influence around markets, with Venus and the North Node and Mercury are in conjunct in Gemini. So again, that could be, especially with markets, because Mercury rules mercantilism, right? Merchants, commerce, exchanges, currency exchanges, coins and currency, data and information. This could be also about the release in the media, or excuse me, some news stories and things that would very much upset the apple cart, having a destabilizing influence. Another area with Venus there, it could be about homes. You know, you think about the rent revolution that's been going on, where rents in the real estate market has been just increasing so much in value. And I think a lot of this is artificially driven, and we could be seeing some blip happening there. Especially with Saturn going retrograde at the end of the month. Wow, you know, you could see a recalibrating of the market, of the real estate market. But I think that this could definitely have an effect I feel for people who have had rent moratoriums, and they're, because of COVID and how they've not been able to, you know, perhaps pay their rent for many months, and how that moratorium keeps getting extended. So we could be seeing some potential upset around that. where's a real adjustment required. But Venus there, it could, there's, thank God, right? A desire and to connect and have fairness around this, and some harmony, bringing some harmony to the situation, some grace. But Mars opposition is definitely, I would think it would be about, this is time to address this real estate issue, this inequity and imbalance. It could also affect schools and families, right? Because lunar eclipse, lunar is the moon. The moon is our home, it's our comfort zone, it's our family, it's our mothers, it's our environment. So this could be, again, there's something that needs to change regarding all of that. Certainly, again, with Mercury and Gemini, the school system, again, Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency markets, as I've said. And I also think of India, Mother India, God bless, just, keep India and the whole world, obviously, in your prayers, but especially with all these headlines around India. It's been so heartbreaking, the 300,000 plus deaths that they've been having, and new cases coming in every day, and that the deaths and the cases are probably way, way more than is being reported, because it's in such chaos and catastrophe. How could you have any accurate reporting given the scope of what they're dealing with right now? So please keep India in your prayers. Really feel for you guys. So there's that. And I just want to finish it by saying May 22nd and May 23rd. So you got two more juicy opportunities, and then the eclipse May 26th, the lunar eclipse. But May 22nd, Mercury is going to be squaring Neptune and Pisces. So that's interesting. When I think about what is Neptune and Pisces, well, that Pisces rules drugs and other states of consciousness, and Mercury, the news. There might be some news, some deception that's uncovered around maybe drugs. I'm thinking of like COVID or COVID vaccines. Maybe there's some information that has not been brought to light that is now being brought to light, and it might cause people to lose faith. I know there's been a big faith situation going on with a lot of people in the United States. There's many millions of people who are evangelical are not getting the vaccine because of religious reasons, and their pastor or whomever, minister and such, that are, they've got their religious viewpoints that are very embodied in their decision making. So there may be information that changes their mind, or maybe there are people who are, say, perhaps very pro-vaccine, that hear new information, and then they lose faith in the process of trying to deal with COVID and come to some kind of successful conclusion of this pandemic. So that's something that could very well be happening at the end of the month, May 22nd. It perfects. On a positive note, Neptune, of course, being about inspiration, and I think of the arts like dance and poetry and songwriting, and Mercury squaring it might be where we embrace and engage with our creative, imaginative faculties to create and write. Mercury is the scribe, right? The ancient in Mercury was the messenger and the scribe. So there may be news and writing and ideas that are very to engage with these mystical elements. So that would be another way in which that energy might play out. But definitely Neptune and Pisces also about faith, so having faith, and maybe our faith is shaken and then it needs to be restored, or maybe we realign with a new belief system. So those are all possibilities. And then just the May 23rd, Saturn is going to go retrograde, and it spends about 5 months in retrograde. So Saturn's about our foundations, and in the 3D world, it's real estate and construction and building, and philosophically, metaphorically, it's our very structure of reality, and it's our family lineage, and it's where we build our base of reality. its dharma and our challenges and such. So we are rethinking with that retrograde is we're checking on the progress of this amazing society that is being birthed. We're taking time to say, okay, how's our progress? How are we doing with that? It's going to be, it's squaring Uranus all year. So it's like, okay, this new world that we want, let's take a step back and say, are we doing okay with that? How are we doing with our own plans? How are we in alignment with doing things for the betterment of society, or are we being very loner, self-centered? You know, that would be one thing to engage with, especially when it's going to square in the middle of June. It'll be squaring Uranus again, but that'll be next month's conversation. Okay, so, and then we pretty much figure, you know, that South Node lunar eclipse at May 26th. So it'd be right before Memorial Day weekend in the United States. And again, this is when you think about the South Node, it's a dissolution energy and about the home and things related to homes and mothering and security and environment. So these eclipses are going to be bringing around change and the shifting of what was, and we don't go back in that direction. We evolve. The lights are cut off, right? The sun and the moon, the luminaries are temporarily blanked out, right? We don't see them. So it's like we're in the dark. So I would say from the middle of May, was the 26th, I would give yourself 2 weeks around each before the eclipse to not make any major decisions, because you can't make a major decision if the lights are out. You know, it's like, would you want to bake a cake if you had no electricity and you're kind of grabbing around in the dark for like, you know, I'm trying to measure how much salt I put in, you know? I mean, it's not the time, right? So just to be aware that that is coming up, and we want to align with the ebbs and flows of nature and the planets to help guide us for the most optimal times for things. And that is definitely a time of introspection. And we're going to be, especially in the window between eclipses, so that'd be May 26th and June 10th, for sure. You know, I would not be advising to get married or signing any long-term definitive contract or undertaking, because that's just not the time for that. So as always with any eclipse, regardless of the sign it's in. But it is a time for reflecting and building awareness. So using it as a meditative tool, reflecting on our own lives. That's all I have for today. I hope you enjoyed this. It's always a pleasure, and thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful May, full of all great things. And again, you know, our spiritual path, regardless of the vicissitudes of life and the upsets and changes and such, just knowing that we are keeping our center and staying in our center and connecting with that as our authentic self, who we really are. And we are not these changes in daily fortunes and misfortunes, right? We are bigger than that. We're beyond that. So that this is our task. This is what's there for us to do, is to transform our lives using these transits to be proactive and say, how can I use this how can I embrace this and work with it rather than be annoyed by it or thrown around by it, right? So the stronger we are within, the easier it is and not just easier, just it's a different way of seeing things. So, and experiencing them when we're in that mindset. So that's all. Okay, thank you so much. Episode 100, yay, StarSound Speaks. Irlianna Samsara, thank you all for listening. Have a very blessed, blessed month of May. Namaste.